And yeah, the first match of today is gonna be between Redefiner and Hagrit, and we are in the second round of the Age of Mythology Titans Summer Championship 2018, hosted by LL Destroyer, for quite nice 200 euros. Definitely quite nice price for the players and for the community, of course. We're gonna be playing on Medit as the first chosen map here. That should be a map for Hagrit, if I'm correct. And since he's playing Poseidon, it definitely makes sense. Because yeah, Poseidon is quite solid on Medit, and he's gonna be apparently facing a Kronos from Redefiner, AK Junior. So definitely curious how this is gonna go. That's a very interesting matchup. If you consider, of course, the reconstruction and the potential for pestilence a bit later, of course, from the Kronos player. Just for some ratings, for example, right now this is not gonna be all that representative, to be honest, because for example Hagrit is playing quite often on extended edition. So right now on Wubi he's having 1658, whereas Redefiner is 1677, bit for whom I think it actually should be more or less representative. But yeah, well, still, let's have a look how this match is gonna go and how, of course, both players are gonna be approaching this matchup. Alright, so there we are. Of course, Lure is gonna be cast right next to Town Center because, of course, we are on Medit. That means there are not gonna be any kind of Granary right next to Water Buffaloes, aka Oros. Yeah, they're having the same model, so you just need to remember that each map is having them named differently. But yeah, well, this is not a good spot for Doc. Please go north, about here. Please go north about here. This is definitely not a good one. And is he like really waiting here, or is this, yeah. Okay, so I was just for a moment thinking, is this like a bug threat, or what is going on? Because that was a really long wait right there. So they definitely didn't help Hagrid at all. That was like 10 seconds of waiting at least. So it's gonna be slowing him down. Shouldn't be anything all that major, but still, nothing that you want to do at all. And it's gonna be already a relic right next to his top PC. Top TC is gonna be for better house and mana or hit points, which is not really that bad. Gonna be quite helpful if he needs to somehow wall up his side of the map in case he's gonna be under attack by the Kronos, because that's something that actually Kronos do relatively often on Medit. That they try to basically transport the temple right next to some kind of TC or maybe even gold, to basically prevent any kind of good economy for the opponent. And from there on, they're just gonna be trying to abuse you with the Prometheans and some oracles and whatever. So it could be definitely happening as right now. Wow! Okay, so this actually hurt Hagrid a whole lot more, the early actually waiting time, than he actually might have thought. Because you can see, he just didn't finish even the first fishing boat, and that wouldn't have happened if he actually really finished the dock exactly on time as he should have. So that's like pretty solid handicap for him right now. Not having any kind of fishing economy for basically the first almost 2 minutes, that's really bad. That's really bad, pretty well played for Redefiner, but of course, he was definitely hugely held by his opponent. But let's switch into his point of view. He has already quite nicely scouted all around the pond. Gonna be slightly helpful to Hagrid, to be honest, in the fact that he's gonna be actually forced to build the rock in a much more better position than he was having the original one. Wasn't really ideal. So kinda weirdly played all around by the red player so far. But Blue, well, of course, he's taking advantage of exactly what he should be. And you're gonna be looking at him placing the rock in kinda similar position to what actually Hagrid did. And be slightly better to be coming with the rock here. But question is if maybe he isn't already thinking about placing the second rock about there. In which case, of course, it would be nicely spaced. And would be maybe making some kind of sense. Oh yeah, well, right now he's gonna be able to see some right next to the rock. There's nothing really all that major for him, and not any kind of huge problem for him so far. Alright, we're at about 2.5 minutes, so we're probably gonna be starting to think about some docks, or other docks, the other building, the temples. And of course, maybe trying to even transport you on the other side of the map. And looking how Redefiner, aka Junius, is so far playing, it almost looks like that he actually will want to transport the temple about here. Between the gold and between the TC, it seems like a pretty good spot actually. And since he hasn't scouted the top side, which seems kinda similar, yeah, basically the same position, same situation as at the very bottom, of course, for the red player, he, well, doesn't have all that much of a choice, and even if he did, it wouldn't really matter a whole lot, because literally this situation and this one, they're absolutely the same. Could be thinking that this one is a bit more important for Hagrid because of the other gold nearby, so maybe there could be some kind of thought about this one, but yeah, it's really gonna be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the game when this is gonna becoming important. So yeah, of course, for the early start, it's not really all that much of a problem that he's gonna be transporting his temple. Alright, so 3 minutes 30. He's right now gonna be clicking to the next age for 30 advance. That's not gonna be half bad. And is he gonna be moving the tempo or not? That's the question right now. Because that's usually what happens with Kronosis. He usually really try to basically use even the Promethean. Oh, and he's going that much aggressively. Is it really needed? I actually think that's not really needed to go so much into the enemy phase, because what it does is pretty much giving it up to the opponent. He will know that he's already there, and if you basically put it about here, there was a pretty good chance that the Kataskopos wouldn't be able to find it. Right now, you can see that he would find it anyway. But yeah, well, that's a bit of a luck, of course, on Hagrit's side. So if you can avoid anything like that, that is not based on luck, then, like, why not do it? Why not do it at all? But anyway, there we go. That's gonna be, of course, focus for better oracles, better speed, and, well, basically just better speed, of course, and faster expansion on the line of sight so that they can see faster and better. But otherwise, we have seen, of course, plenty of economy for Hagrid on the water, like, literally plenty. So a lot of them at this point. 6, 8, 11. Wow, that's already 13 fishing boats. That's a lot. Especially compared to the opponents, or other compared to the opponents who is having 6, 9, about 10. So of course the water economy is gonna be a whole lot better for Hagrid. You can see right now how he's spacing all his docks. He's having one right there. That is right now gonna be probably assaulted. To good success, I'm expecting. This is probably gonna be falling down, but it kinda depends if actually his opponent might be advancing fast enough. You can see already Theseus being prepared. Be coming out. He's already gonna be having, of course, ceasefire, and he's actually casting ceasefire right now. I know that's a bit of a question if maybe he couldn't have waited a bit more, because I may be interested in basically waiting a bit more as far as basically wasting the time of all of those guys. But I'm thinking this was also a combination with the water, because he has already seen Hagrid that there are BMS in his fishing boats, and that's the reason why he went for the ceasefire rather than those dudes on the land, because he doesn't want the disruption all that much. And it almost looks like he doesn't want to fight for the water too much, or there might be some kind of faster heroic, but so far not really certain. It's just some kind of weird build order a bit. And you can see the dogs being spent absolutely everywhere. That's, well, he did get the extra gold, or other food. Damn it, the last resource, gold, not stone. Damn it. Sorry. The stone from the construction, so sure. 3 dogs are gonna be quite fine. And right now, quite interesting upgrade, of course, into the Poseidon. It's gonna be helping him with the water economy quite a bit. And I'm definitely curious how he's gonna be continuing here. Because at this point you will be fully expecting he will be fighting for the water full on. But that is gonna be, of course, putting quite a lot of pressure on Redefiner, on somehow working on the land quite a bit more. So far it's only Theseus, and you'll be expecting that maybe Hippolyta could be coming out of the temple, or rather, well, temple as well, but mainly from the TC as well, quite early. Because those 2 heroes are gonna be quite enough to actually deal with all the nuisances here, as there is a possibility that maybe Redefiner could be producing at least a few more Prometheans to be annoying exactly on the villagers, but yeah, well, we definitely need to be careful not to lose the Prometheans that easily, as that is not exactly all that helpful. But still, the damage is already done in there, so let's switch into the water for a bit of a battle in here. As of course, Redefiner did use the opportunity of the water battle was in there to basically produce as many boats as possible, which of course Hagrid did as well. But it so far seems that the numbers were slightly better for Redefiner, but unfortunately he's right now not paying attention. Yeah, just distracted by the fishing boats in there, and it of course resulted in quite horrible battle for him, as Hagrid was able to pick off those blue boats one by one, and that means that right now fighting right next to the rock, it should be coming basically to his side, as you don't even see any kind of reinforcements. Exactly, coming forward. Yeah, that wasn't really well played. It wasn't too well played, unfortunately, for Junius, and he's right now gonna be paying for it quite a bit, because with the numbers of the Greek boats finally getting up, it is gonna be resulting, of course, into pretty much one-sided battle, as the advantage of Redefiner's boats being cheaper, not really that major, but much more importantly being faster, is not really that much used on small merit in 1v1s, because you don't really have all that much room to escape to. So, especially with the high range, that's basically directly countering the faster speed of the boats from the Greeks. Yeah, this is right now gonna be very hard for the blue player to actually somehow reclaim the water for himself. So yeah, those 2 mistakes definitely led into quite a tough situation, but he is not giving up. You can see he's spamming very well indeed, and quite capably, as of course Hagrid will have to put a lot more effort into the water. Maybe he wants to somehow win it. And the problem for him potentially could be that he doesn't have any kind of good defensive spot. For example, if you look at the opponent, if he's gonna be fighting somewhere about here, he can probably expect both of those dogs to be shooting at the boats. Whereas for Hagrit, he doesn't have anything like that. He's having literally one dog shooting, and that's not a huge defense. Not a huge defense. You can see right now that basically just the pure strength of the red boats is prevailing in the battle. But he could be using one extra dog here, or at least switch the battle to the top. I think it actually is something that he might be wanting to do. And he might actually be able to do that. He will be giving up a few of the fishes, maybe. But if he plays it correctly, and for example from here escapes to the top, I'm really thinking that he's gonna be forcing Redefiner to fight right next to here. And right next to the double logs and double shooting on him. So I think it would be worthwhile for Hagrid to at least attempt and see if Redefiner would be falling for that. In the meantime, on the land we have seen, or well, on the minimap especially we have seen that of course all the army is pretty much dead. Just Promethean right now guarding the DC, having a look if maybe somebody is gonna be coming there. But in the meantime, Hagrid is also guarding the top one with one of his pieces. And that is gonna be quite enough, because so far we don't really see any kind of advance on land from the Deities of Death player. Alright, so there we go. Right now it seems like Hagrid is feeling comfortable, bit of kiting with the top 3 rem in there. And this seems like a pretty good situation for him. I'm just gonna be checking on the economy. You can see 800 food. The gold is kinda missing, so probably right now he's gonna be producing on all the villages on gold. It really seems like that it is. Yeah, it definitely is the case, or maybe even a bit more on the wood. Even though I don't think that actually he needs on the wood all that much. Let's see the economy. He's having both hand axe and pickaxe. His opponent is having none. And that is maybe slightly strange. You're maybe thinking that the Redefiner could be affording that. Oh, sorry, Redefiner. He definitely does have the resources for exactly those 2 upgrades, and it could be really working quite well for him. Because at this point it doesn't seem like that he would want to even advance into the Heroic Age. You can see that, and here especially, that he's still spamming as many boats as possible. Right now from all the 3 dogs. At the same time, the same as Hagrid. But yeah, well, oh, this is a kind of bad spot for Hagrid to fight. As you can see, there's absolutely no dog shooting for him. So that's not a really good spot. He should be choosing something else. As right now with all the reinforcements coming forward, and even though there are some reinforcements into the defense for Hagrid as well, he is definitely losing quite high numbers in there. And well, there's gonna be one dead, this one is gonna be dead as well, and this one is also kinda deadish. It's gonna be a pretty tough moment for him, as in the meantime Hagrid is getting the Oseberg wagon for the better caravans, and yeah, well, let's see if that's really gonna be needed on this map. Might be. Though, to be honest, I wouldn't really expect that, because we are right now at 10 minutes, and the battle is still raging on the water. So, let's see. Let us see about that. That relic at the top, that was the one for walls. Oh no, walls. Extra hit points, but for houses. If I remember correctly right about now. Oh, careful, Redefiner. So basically right now 2 versus 2. With better boats against the worse boats, so that's of course gonna be leading into victory. And even though all of those boats are dead, still, the rock is gonna win, as in the meantime Hagrid apparently is right now resorting to a bit of raiding. You can see, trying to force the opponent into some kind of bad situation, and mainly to lose the water economy. As right now he is pretty much losing all the water eco himself. And he's getting into quite an interesting moment in the game, because it almost seems like that he's actually slightly giving up on the water, but you can see he's just depositing them inside, garrisoning them, and waiting for a bit of them to actually come out. So it's gonna be quite a nasty surprise for Redefiner, because I'm thinking that he might be thinking that right now the basically water battle is done. Because usually when you go with boats to raid the enemy economy without losing all of them, that is usually a signal that you give up on the water. But yeah, I'm thinking that Redefiner is not exactly reading that right now properly. He's of course doing what he needs to do to protect his economy, but he's still gonna be quite nastily surprised very soon, as those guys from the land, you can see already, counter barracks and military barracks both being done, as he's right now trying to save the house so that he doesn't spend all the resources on building that again. That is maybe a bit of a threat. Oh, that's a lot of threat actually. It's not just a bit of threat, that's a pretty big threat right now for Hagrid, because that army is pretty big. As on the right side, Hagrid is having just first military building, and even though that's the correct one, archer range, it could be quite easily countered by just a few turmas. And I wouldn't be surprised. Oh well, 37 seconds, so sorry about that, missed that one. As the stable is gonna be, of course, following up for Poseidon. This is quite an important moment, of course, for him, because he needs to protect not only the TC, but much more importantly the gold. The gold is gonna be very important, especially combined with the fact that Redefiner is advancing through the top side, and yeah, he seems to be already controlling even the poor piggy next to the TC in there. Quite a solid army. He should be a lot more aggressive. He really should be a whole lot more aggressive, because there's no reason to actually worry about anything at all. His opponent is not really attacking. You can see right now he's having a quite nice forward base side next to gold mine yet again. Quite an important spot for a Redefiner in there. And it seems like the TC is gonna be finished no problem whatsoever. And he already is having quite a solid army at the right and waiting. Waiting to actually capture a third TC as well. As Hagrit is not advancing into the heroic anytime soon. But yeah, well, right now, those guys are just idle for quite a bit. You can see he doesn't have the economy on the wood and on the gold. Because apparently he's still producing enough boats to fight of the enemy onslaught, which is of course right now gonna be quite a bit of a problem, as Hagrid did what he needed to do. He hit all the boats inside the docks and basically waited until he had some kind of critical mass, and that's a problem for every Atlantean, because the weaker boats are always gonna be having problems somehow dealing with a huge mass of strong Greek boats. And that seems to be basically exactly the case. Yeah, you can see Redefiner just now basically raiding around, trying to see if he can destroy the economy at least for the opponent, so that he doesn't have any kind of huge advantage. But yeah, well, you kinda never know, as armor is up as well as basically secondary wall to block also the normal wall in there. And it seems that he should be heading up with the TC Hagrit. He significantly should. As he might be actually right now paying for that. There doesn't seem to be any hole. This has been plugged at the top side. Right now, all the melee units are gonna be quite a bit of a problem, and of course, no repair is gonna be possible because of all the traumas being present in here. So this should be taken down, but yeah, it's not gonna be in time. It's not gonna be in time, as unfortunately for Redefine, Hagrid is gonna be finishing with the TC quite a bit before, and it's gonna be basically all the defense that he needs exactly at this spot. So well played by Hagrid, and well gauged the situation. He's gonna be also having a bit of an army, so it seems like with the first horsey also coming out of the stable, that the defense might be just fine. Just fine. Maybe a bit of a hiccup on the gold gathering there, but nothing all that major. It should be really overcomable. Quite alright. Alright, so red boats and blue. Oh, well, he still does have the auto queue, but he's also housed. He also is housed, so that might be actually a bit of a blessing for him that he's housed. He's actually having all the army though. Okay, there's a lot of army coming forward. One idle. How many does he have? 2, 2, and 2. It's not really all that much. It's not really all that much, but right now I'm slightly getting worried that he might be actually screwing himself over, because at this point, if I were him, I would probably really give up on the water, like already a minute ago. I don't really think that making right now the arrow boats in there is really all that useful. Because if he could have all the resources for that, not only literally the resources, but also the pop limit, that's also a resource pretty much, then he could be a whole lot more pressuring on the opponent. But much more importantly, he would be much closer to the heroic cage. You can see right now he does have armor, so he's already gonna be clicking into... So what is it gonna be? Maybe Rhea? Let's see. No, come on, Redefiner. Click into your heroic age. You're heavily housed. If indeed can go to upgrade already. Hyperion is gonna be actually for him. As for the opponent, Hagrid is... Oh, well. Still not advancing. I was thinking, since he already did have the armor in there, that he would be well on his way already at this point, by at least half a minute in. But apparently not, he's having quite a solid problem with the gold, apparently, for some reason. Even though he does have shaft mines, so like, what's the reason? Because he's having auto-Q and Hippicons, but... Okay, it's a bit of a gangbang in there. But he doesn't have population limit anymore, which is of course the reason right now for the TC. And he should have done it differently. I'm fairly certain, I'm absolutely positive that he should have gone heroic age before going for this TC. Unless he's maybe afraid that his opponent might be already advancing through the top side and not allowing him later. Maybe. Could be, but we've seen all the army at the bottom. I probably wouldn't be worried about that all that much. I think it's kinda easy to say when we are seeing the whole map, which is something that he of course cannot know all that much. But at least he does know about the solid army at the bottom, and that probably means for him that there's not gonna be all that much of it at the top. Alright, so basically Act 3 a water battle in here. This is right now Redefiner deploying all the boats into the battlefield as he's advancing into Hyperion, and let's see what he's gonna be, where he's gonna be using. Of course, that should be Chaos, right? Yes, it is. And he's gonna be using it because there is potentially quite an interesting god power on water, as it really can make quite a bit of difference. Imagine if right now he stole basically all of those boats and they were starting to shoot at Hagrit himself. Oh yeah, that is definitely a possibility for him. As right now he's gonna be casting Chaos about here. I would be definitely aiming for the horses, because they could be like coming from the back into all of those archers. It would be really deadly. So this is a very good battle for Chaos, so why not take it? This is a very good battle for Chaos. I really think that he should have taken it. But anyway, as right now passed, he's gonna have to use it a bit later. But anyway, right now, Dionysus is coming forward as well. That maybe is gonna be quite a bit of a problem for Redefiner, because of course he will have to produce a lot of heroes, as I'm expecting at Hagrid, with all the food. And you can see the favor at 88. You can see he's gathering quite a lot of favor actually. He might be really spamming quite a bit of Hydras at this point. You see also finished on the left side finally for Redefiner, as we are gonna be looking at the medium Murmilos, copper weapons already on them, so okay, so I'll take in. Whereas for Hagrid, not so much. He doesn't have any actual upgrades whatsoever. And much more problematically for him, he's slowly running out of this gold. You can see only 2000 left. And luckily for him, he did basically just now capture with TC at the top side those two extras. But, well, once he does have to actually switch those about 17 villages onto another gold source, if he doesn't do it gradually, he might be having a bit of an issue in downtime on the gold department. And, of course, that might be a window of opportunity for the opponent in there. So there we go. This is gonna be maybe even jump into Mythic. Well, apparently not so much. But he definitely clicked Hydras. Or did he? No, then he clicked some upgrades. You can see right now he's clicking copper weapons, copper mail. Because he lost about 40 favor. So he had to have clicked something somewhere. Oh yeah, right now, the Thracian horses. Okay, that's expensive. Okay, that's of course gonna be quite a bit of difference. Quite a bit of difference in there, as Hydra is already eating the enemies alive, with the medium beacons being there as well. So that is gonna be actually quite a lot of upgrades right now coming for Hagrid, making for quite a solid power spike for him. Whereas for the opponent, he still does have only mediums. He was apparently able to produce a palace at pretty close spot. Pretty close spot to the opponent, so that's well played. Taking the map control basically step by step, but maybe he should be also thinking about a bit of a defense at the top side, because those two gold mines, even though he doesn't need them now, he could be using a bit of a defense on this TC. I'm slightly worried about that one, and that might be used by Hagrid sometime soon, because he does have plenty of villages in here, and it's all the way to the side, and there is market coming up, and all he needs to do is produce a fortress and a few, I don't know, maybe stables probably. And from there, could be quite a threat to the TC in there, or a second head up. So full 40 attack for the one Hydra attack. So how many heads can she actually grow? She's right now apparently hungry for a bit of wood as well. Yeah, that's a solid attack indeed. Oh well, the Zero Murmil, get rid of him, please. Hagrid, Micro. This one, please. Oh well, just this one Murmil is gonna be completely slaughtering the Hydra with a bit of help, of course, of the rest of the units. But still, this dude was the most important. Definitely could have been avoided, or the Hydra could have been kept alive for a bit longer, of course. There was still another hero in the archive. Lions in there at the back, but still, this is, of course, not exactly the bestest of fights. All those archers against the destroyers, and that's, of course, the reason why Red is not exactly winning in there. So you're gonna be switching and having a quick look on the water, where of course apparently we are switching into heroic age units all around, with of course the siege boats and also the hammer ships coming forward, whereas Redefiner is only continuing with the arrow ships. You can see quite a bit of disbalance in the economy for Hagrid, but well, he's getting a lot of food from here. Oh, somebody's forgetting something, but Artemis is coming forward anyway. Oh no, not Hagrid, Redefiner. But he's coming into Atlas also, so he's popped. So, oh yeah, he actually does have fire ship queued in, but he doesn't have the pop limit, in which case I would be really expecting from you some fortified TC. Fortunately not really coming. That's really gonna be quite important for him overall, as the opponent is having still mediums yet. We'll be looking forward to some heavy hit guns, of course, for the Poseidon, But of course the Earthquake is gonna be quite dangerous, as that will be leveling either this forward base, or he could be just basically leveling all of this here. Oh man, can you look at all of those villages? Just waiting to be abused here quite a bit. As one of the chaoses has been already cast, haven't really noticed where, but yeah, well, right now we have heard the medium, or rather, medium, the above. The heavy destroyer already upgrade coming forward for all the infantry for him. He's having copper shields, copper weapons, whereas the opponent is at medium toxotai with basically the same copper mail and copper weapons, with the rest of the units having basically only medium upgrades as well. We're just gonna be waiting for some very good upgrades coming forward. The heavy infantry has been researched, yeah, he just said that for Redefiner. Otherwise on the water we are still seeing quite a bit of attempt right now to fight for it. And interesting, the battle is going still at about 21 minutes, as Earthquake is coming exactly to the bottom side. And that is gonna be quite easy, because we could have seen that the Redefiner unfortunately doesn't have all that many upgrades. You can see right now it's gonna be also quite quickly rebuilt though. It doesn't have the fortified TC yet. Right now gonna be coming for the research. And he, for example, doesn't have even masons. That would be quite definitely helping as a defense against something like Earthquake. Soaking up a bit of damage, probably not saving the TC that much. It still would be at least a bit of a help. Maybe you could have saved one military building here and there. Okay, so Chimera coming forward. There's still a few aeroboats being present in here. As at the top side, there's gonna be a few idols for Hagrit. And how about the, what was it, narrates in the middle, I think? Yeah, I think they're actually narrates. They seem to be dead. Yeah, I don't really see them anywhere. So they've at least already finished with their warfare. As right now the water economy is probably not gonna be continuing for Redefiner all that much, and he might be losing even a few more extra military buildings right on the shoreline, but that's not really all that much of a problem. Much bigger problem is the fact that he's right now kinda losing the battle for the middle of the map, as Hagrit is pushing forward, and with, of course, the slowdown in the production in there because of the less popular or the lower population limit. Oh well, upgrading to Chimera Tyrant. Oh, so is that gonna be a plan? Is that gonna be a plan for Hagrit? So far I don't see that much. He's having 3 villages on favor. So he could be producing a Chimera here and there. It's definitely not a bad idea. Because he, of course, can be quite effective with Radiant... Oh, sorry, damn it. Just clicking elsewhere on the map. With the Chimeras, as that is quite a solid Imperial strategy for Poseidon, that's definitely not to be underestimated. And if you can make it happen, especially against an Atlantean, it might not be how bad. Because having the heroes everywhere, that is usually a problem. And the special attack of the Chimera Tyrants is one hell of a problem. It's really strong, really strong. The area of damage is pretty huge, and it's actually quite good, especially against villages. So if you have like villages clumped around the gold or something, you can quite solidly insta-kill a lot of them. It goes especially against non-Atlantean villages. If you have like 3-4 Chimera Titans, or other Tyrants, and you go on like Egyptian or even a Greek gold mine, you can absolutely annihilate the whole gold mine villages right there with one special attack if you time it properly. So that really is something that you could be doing quite a bit. But anyway, we are seeing a bit of a switch also into Heterois. Alright, that's an interesting idea, as we are looking at heavy cavalry with bronze, and copper. Very nice upgrades coming forward with irrigation as well for Hagrid, whereas the opponent is at heavy murmillo with bronze, copper. But some upgrades are there, but on the water it seems to be pretty much a done deal. So there's one last boat to deal with, but all the rocks are pretty much gone, and Hagrid is right now the undisputed master of the seas. As is, of course, expected from a Poseidon player. So there we go, though. On land, he's definitely not the master there. He's not master of the land here. As right now the attack is quite solid. It, of course, the Fire Siphon right now being quite a bit of help. As if he can get rid of the archer range, even though he's gonna be spawning a few militias extra in there, the Fanatics should be able to take care of them quite easily. And with all the archive also quite nicely upgraded into heavy already. As we just clicking into the bronze in there. Bronze. That's a lot of bronze. It's gonna be bronze on the second power here. As we have already seen, of course, the bronze mail, bronze shields, and bronze weapons. And you know the level of bronze on that. Oh yeah, we're in the Bronze Age most definitely here. for Hagrit, and he seems to be exactly winning because of that. Not all that much of a wonder. And 51% pierce armor definitely served this Hetairoy quite a bit. Could have seen how many salves it took from all of those Archive to fell him. And that definitely helped, of course, Hagrit even more. So right now he's having quite a solid amount of units. As he's of course been able to keep them alive for quite a bit, but with the palace right now moving forward, which is from here. Not really that much of a distance, but still it's quite solid, since he doesn't have apparently resources for building anything new. Oh, well, yeah, he doesn't really. That is not really how bad. And right now, oh, the Chimera being stolen, that's not good. That's not good for Hagrid, of course, as he's gonna be losing it, and he has to, of course, kill it himself. That's a lot of resources wasted for him, exactly the power of chaos. And, well, Theseus is gonna be making a short deal out of this special one. Well, the special attack then, though, at the end, definitely helped quite a bit. So, the palace is gonna be right now transported exactly in place. Does he have extra upgrades on it or not? Only Mason, so he cannot even shoot or rather below itself. That's kinda unfortunate. So he still does have at least a few targets right there. But yeah, even though the palace is gonna be dying, there is still a pretty solid chance that it will allow a Redefiner to kill quite a lot of units, of course, by all of those Murmilos and everything. But it also means that he's gonna be losing the palace, and that's not good. Because that was like the only palace on the bottom side. Okay, so that was literally the only palace for him, not good. And now you can see that Hagrid is well prepared at the top side, in case he was actually under attack in there. Now there we go, some watchtowers and sentry towers are going to be moved to the bottom. But unfortunately right under the range of the oxygen juggernauts in here. So that is gonna be kinda backfiring. A lot of wasted resources yet again, and even though the idea was correct, fortunately the execution could have been better. Right now this one fire siphon still being alive here. Really being a pest for Hagrid as well. Now there we go. This one is toast. The second one is gonna be toast as well, as the village is gonna be dying also. It's gonna be a question of just a few seconds before this tower is down as well. Yeah, right about now. As the Tyroids are proving to be quite a solid unit so far, because they are of course working like solid tanks against all of the Archive. And since we don't really see any kind of other unit all that much, you can see a combination of hoplites with the Hetairoids and a few Toxotai here and there is quite solid against all the Murmilos and the Archive. As yeah, we are definitely missing the palaces, and from them, something like, yeah, probably the Fanatics. The Fanatics wouldn't be a bad unit against all of the hoplites and even the Hetairoids, because the Hetairoids don't have such a huge melee armor. You can see only 27% on them. So at the top side, you can see Hagrid is right now moving forward fully. He has recognized that there might be maybe an opportunity for him to go for the victory in the game, because at the bottom he is already pushing forward quite well. And yeah, basically the missing palace. The missing palace is the biggest problem right now for Redefiner, and one that he hasn't been able to overcome yet. Right now he could be able to do so, but at the same time, even if he does, he is heavily underpopped. He's having basically 110 out of 160, so 50 population limit, and is basically missing for him. That's a really problem. Really a big issue for him. As at this point, well, apparently even Bacchanal are gonna be coming up for a bit more extra hit points, but much more importantly, he is of course right now fully switching. You can see it through Chimera Tyrant, plenty of prayers coming forward. And with the champion infantry just now being researched, with otherwise bronze and iron. Now that is probably something that Redefiner might be having a bit of an issue with in dealing with, as even though he's all bronze, the irons are quite far away. And yeah, right now with the attack from here, of course another palace is gonna be killed, as it is unfortunately built on a wrong space as well. It's exactly the importance of water and how you need to be careful about placing buildings on the shoreline. You also mustn't forget that the build up on the top side for Hagrid is quite dangerous for Redefiner, and he's kinda recognizing right now that at the bottom he has pretty much lost, and the top side is not gonna be any kind of redeeming quality for him at all either. So well played. Quite a nice actually water battle, quite a long one, as you can see the water still being important at 28 minutes almost. And Hagrid is gonna be coming into the lead in this round 2 matchup, which is a best of 5 of course, so still plenty of games left. Let's have a look into the post game. It's gonna be Hagrid in the end winning everything, not much of a surprise to be honest, with how the game went. Yeah, the economy in the end pretty solid, but it was also partly because Redefiner didn't really go for any upgrades early. Did he actually recuperate from that a bit later? I think that he did, but still only pickaxe both saw in their only blow. Yeah, it kind of explains how he was having probably the issues with the economy. It really doesn't help all that much, and especially since he in the early game didn't go for hand axe and pickaxe for quite a long time. That definitely hurt him. Otherwise, the ratio is kind of solid for both. Not really any kind of problem either way. The advances through ages curiously similar. But yeah, the worse economy for Redefiner, resulting into the missing upgrades for him. Yeah, this was a good spot for Redefiner, but the bronze completely upended him. And he started losing quite solidly. That was also the moment where he lost the palace, I think. Well, GG.